Okay, this next section is going to be on trapezoids. Trapezoids. Okay, trapezoids are in the family of quadrilaterals. And quadrilaterals, right? Quad is a little prefix for the number 4. So it's a 4-sided shape, or quadrilaterals are 4-sided shapes. Okay. And they kind of have something very much in common to parallelograms, right? Parallelograms are also 4-sided shapes. So let's review that. Something to review about parallelograms, just to remind you. On parallelograms, remember the angles on parallelograms, right? So if I have a parallelogram like this side is parallel to this side, and then this side also has to be parallel to this side, so it has to look the same, right? Try to make it look the same. Maybe it's a little bit steeper, but anyways, okay, what about parallelograms? Well, remember the angles, because the top was parallel to the bottom. The top and the bottom were parallel. And then also the left and the right were parallel. Well, that's why it's a parallelogram, because it has 2 pair of parallel sides. Yeah. So that's why it's a parallelogram. The top and the bottom are parallel, and the left and the right are parallel. So what I wanted to review was, remember this, if this angle was 100, then remember the same side angles were 180. They added up to 180. So that's 100. This has to be 80, right? Because they add up to 180. And then what was also true? Well, what was also true about parallelograms was, if this is 100, well, this one was 100. So they added up to 180 this way, but then they also added up to 180 this way at the same time. And the opposite angles were congruent. And they were congruent this way, and they were also congruent this way, right? So whether you looked at it this way, they added up to 180, or whether you looked at it this way, they added up to 180, or whether you looked at it this way, right? The same side angles added up to 180. That's going to be something that the trapezoids also have. Okay? This part where they add up to 180, not the opposite angles. Okay? All right, so let's look at trapezoids now. This is what a trapezoid looks like. Trapezoids are also 4-sided. They're also quadrilateral, so they have 4 sides. 4-sided, right, or 4 sides. But remember, parallelograms have 2 pair. 1 pair of parallel line, and then here's the other pair, right? It had 2 pair of parallel lines. Well, The trapezoids only have one pair of what? Parallel sides. And that's where it's going to be really, really important. This part only has one pair of parallel sides. Okay, so here it is. Because the math is pretty easy and it's similar to this where they have to add up to 180. Okay, so let's look at one trapezoid here. So let's say this side is parallel to this side over here, but see, they don't necessarily have to be the same length. They do not necessarily have to be the same length. This one can be longer and this one can be shorter, but they're still what? Parallel. We're not talking about length, we're talking about the slope of the line. See, they're parallel. And then these other sides are going to be different. See, that's why it's not a parallelogram. It only has one pair of parallel. This one can be, I don't know, it could be like going this way. And these can be going a whole totally different way. Like that. You see? So I want you to focus on and maybe it's going to help you to highlight them on the sides that are parallel. Not the other sides. Not this side and this side. Those are not parallel. See? It only has one pair of parallel sides. This side is parallel to this side. Don't worry about the length. But those top and bottom sides are parallel. Okay. So that's what's going to be true. Similar to here, like the parallelograms. If this one's your 100-degree angle, then the direction, or kind of look at the way that the parallel lines are, like this way, one on the top, one on the bottom, then this is the way that the angles will be adding up to 180. The top with the bottom, or this top with this bottom. Not this way. Not the way that the parallel line is going, not like on the same side of the parallel line. So these will add up to what? To 180. So if that's 100, well, this one has to be 80. And see, these angles can be something else. These angles will have nothing to, these angles here, over here, these other two over here, will have nothing to do with these over here. Right? Because it's not a parallelogram. Here, remember, a parallelogram, opposite angles were congruent. That's not true here. That's not true anymore. The only ones that we will have something associated to do with each other is the ones that are like, look at the way the parallel lines are going, and those angles will add up to 180, which we know adding up to 180 is what word? Supplementary. They're supplementary angles. Now they could have gave you these two angles, but it's also true, these two will add up to 180. Or they could have given you an angle over here. Let me draw this again. They could have drawn this like this, and this like this. Oops, did I mess up? Well, I guess I'll do this one longer. Let's say this one, let me put a little bit more slant on this one over here. Let me put it like this. So again, use a highlighter so you can see which of the which is the one pair of lines that are parallel? It's obviously this line is parallel to this one. It can't be. This one is not parallel to this one. That's not it. It's obviously the top parallel to the bottom, right? So either use a highlighter. If you don't have a highlighter, then just put them darker. Put them darker so that you know which ones are the parallel lines. Okay? Or you can use the arrows. So you know that you're looking this way. Top, they're parallel top to bottom. They're not parallel this way, left to right. So just the way that these two will add up to 180, so will the ones on this side. But see, I don't have, I would need an angle measure. So let's say I have an angle here that is, let's say this one up here is 100 and, should I go with 105 degrees? That's fine. If this one's 105, then remember, the parallel lines are going top to bottom. So this angle top to bottom are the ones that add up to 180. Not this way, not this one with this one. Not this one with this one. The parallel lines are not this way. The parallel lines are this way, top to bottom. Right, I'm going to use a highlighter. See, so I'm going this way. These are the angles that have to add up to 180. So that's 105. Then this one has to be what? 75, right? They add up to 180. Okay, let's look at a different one, right? Because they're going to rotate the trapezoid. What if they have one like this? Hold on, let me draw it first. Then you guys can copy it. Okay, what if it looks like this? Which is the pair of lines that are parallel? Is it this one parallel to this one? No way. See, these are the ones that are parallel. So make them darker, or put the arrows, or if you can, if you have a different color pen or a highlighter, something so that you keep that focus. So see, now they're parallel this way. So that's the way your angles are going to be the ones that are adding up to 180. So if they tell you that this one's 20 degrees right there, which are the two that add up to 180? 20 with this one here, the way that kind of like this parallel line to this parallel line, or is it 20 to this one that's crooked, that's not parallel? See, it's not going to be this way because they're not the lines are not parallel this way. It can't be this one with this one. It has to be the 20 with, has to be this one and this one that add up to 180. So that's 20. This one has to be what? 160. So you have to look at the way the parallel lines are parallel. There's only going to be one pair. And if you go like this is the way you have to look. You have to look this way. And those will add up to 180. Not this way. Not this way. So these add up to 180. These here will also add up to 180. But this will be like a different measure. This can be, this looks like it'll be like, this will be like 85 degrees. And see, again, these two will also add up to 180. Again, because you're going to go this way. So if this is 85, this one would have to be what? 95. These will also add up to 180. But see, these angles over here have nothing to do with these over here. But these add up to 180. And then these are totally separate. But again, because the parallel lines are this way, then these two angles will also add up to 180. But you add it up this way. The parallel lines are this way. They're not this way. See, if I add 85 and 20, that's not going to be 180, yeah, because it doesn't go this way. It goes this way. Let's do one more. What do you have? Let's see, what do I have so far? Okay, what if you have one that goes like this? Make this longer. Oh man, I went over right there. Okay, which are the ones that are which are the parallel lines? This one and this one? No, that's not it. See, these are the parallel lines right here. So guess what? Let's use a highlighter, or let's say you don't have a highlighter, just make them darker. Make sure you're looking this way. Right? They're parallel this way, see? So that's the way I'm looking, like this. I'm gonna look this way, or use your arrows if you want to see the parallel, but it's kind of like top, bottom, or left, right, however you want to see it, but it's this way. So let's say I give you this angle here, and I tell you that this is 50 degrees. Well, they have to add up to 180 this way. If you just jump back and forth from the two parallel lines, it'll tell you which two angles have to add up to 180. See, these are the ones that are parallel this way. So it'll be these two. So these two have to add up to 180. So that's 50. This has to be what? 130. Okay. So that's it for this video. The second video will be a little bit quicker. Okay, there you go. Hopefully that's pretty clear.